We are sharing right now on TV a revolution in this country that I missed it. In 1968, I was in the Marine Corps. So that summer of '68, when this country was on fire, similar to what it is now, I missed it. I was in a steel box in the bottom of the ocean. You know, they had me quarantined off in faraway places, so I didn't get to, I missed it all, okay? And then when I got out of the service and went back to college with the people I went to high school with, they go. And I was completely naive to the anti-establishment, how people were sick of the war, they were sick of the military, they were sick of the government. Kent State, where those 4 kids got killed by the National Guard. I mean, I came home, got out of service, walked into that completely naive to what had happened. It'd be like right now with all that went on in the last 3 months, if I'd been out on a sailing boat in Tahiti and out of contact with everybody, and I finally pull into San Francisco and they go, you quarantine, you got to stay on the boat, here we're going to put a, you know, what happened? What just happened? Well, 3 months ago, we had a meltdown, okay? But that's what happened when I got out of service, and right now it's going on again. It's all about social justice. It's all about social justice right now and civil rights. And I've seen both sides. I'm from bucolic, Republican, white, small town, upstate New York. I know where all the people are coming from who are Tea Partiers. Okay, upstate New York is all Tea Party. Okay, they're poor people that go to work. They don't make a lot of money. When Obama was in, and when you get these websites that feed into this, you got people up there, they're disgusted. They're making minimum wage. They don't have any money. The city people come in, they run everything. They got a president that they don't back in the form of Obama, and they're watching all minorities getting welfare, you know, everywhere around the country. They form this hatred, okay, this resentment. And then with the false stuff feeds into it. I understand where they're coming from, but I'm an urbanite. I've lived in Boston, I've lived in Reno, I've lived in San Francisco, I've worked for an international airlines, 2 of them, where everybody's from somewhere else, internationally, Europe, Africa, whatever. You all get along. And when I was living in San Francisco, I went into a Costco once, which is a predominantly Filipino and Asian part of town, and I was the tallest person in there. And I was surrounded, I was probably the only white person in there, and I felt completely and totally safe because all these Asian people were so absorbed in getting a deal at Costco. They were all talking about what they were buying. It's like I was invisible to them, okay? You don't get that around here. Now, an Asian comes into Buckeye, or a minority comes into Buckeye for the last 20 years, you stick out, all right? And if you start chirping or complaining, you really stick out, and that's me. I came in here, I'm a New Yorker, I talk loud, I talk fast, I know what I'm talking about, and I don't like getting screwed on a deal. I like getting what I paid for. It didn't happen. You know the story. I'm not going to dwell on it, okay? But what I tried to get across to you and Vonda today in these videos and everything else is the frustration I'm going through that this is never going to change. Everybody here has more accepted the fact that possession's 9/10 of the law. They got it, they did it 15 years ago. Why do you want to upset that corner over there? Why do you want to change the social structure over there? Because it's not fair. I want to level the playing field. You've got 2 individuals on each side of that and the golf course that are hoarding this forever and ever. I'll never ever be able to realize what I thought I was buying. On the day that I bought these houses, there was a cart path going from the tee box up to the neighborhood, up to track day. And 10 months later, when I closed the house, it was all filled in with trees and shrubs and no cart path. Well, I was kind of busy at the time. I was living someplace else in San Francisco. I was commuting here every week. I had 3 houses. One I owned, the other 2 I had mortgages on, and they were both empty. Now you're saying probably that didn't make big business sense. Why would you do something like that? And that's what's bothering everybody in Buckeye. That's why I wasn't popular here. They all thought that I bought too much toilet paper. Why are you in here? You don't fit. You don't belong here. So my frustration, I tried to get the long story short. I want to list the houses. I want to list them both for $500,000. There's no way that I can live here with somebody buying one of these houses. I'm going to talk his ear off. If you don't tell him how he got screwed during the transaction, if you don't allow me to be in the house when you show it, and everything goes down, and then 2 months down the road he finally closes and he starts moving in, I'm going to talk his ear off. He's going to want to move out within a week when I tell him what you didn't tell him, or what the community of realtors didn't tell him. I've got all the documents, I've got all the proof. This was scrapped, this was skim. All right? I'm paying the price along, not only me, but everybody that bought a house here. For a realtor to tell me that we shouldn't tell these people that there was once supposed to be an emergency exit, a drain, and golf cart access, but because a bunch of crooks 18 years ago got together and decided to violate a few terms of the map, one being my finished floor elevation, the other one, the way they built the thing, we're supposed to all go along with it. Well, I'm not going to go along with it. I'm a gadfly, I'm an interloper, I'm a carpetbagger from the East Coast, okay? I don't like the way they're running this southern plantation over in this corner. And that's what it is. You're running an aristocracy over here. It isn't a level playing field. We have a pecking order. The people who live on each side of track A are going to have that all to themselves forever and ever. Now, come over here. Let's put a listing, $500,000 for the both of them. They have to both go together. Now, if you think that's out of range, I'm the customer. You're servicing me. I want to sell them both for $500,000 cash. All right? Find me a buyer who's got more money than me. Once somebody, they realize they're paying $500,000 cash, hopefully somebody would, or $500,000 wherever they can get it. If they've got a bank that'll give them the money, let them have it. But they're going to pay $500,000 for it, and I want them to do the due diligence. If they're going to spend that much money for 2 little lots on this golf course overlooking the lake, I expect them to have a lawyer. And I expect that lawyer to do a little research and due diligence before they let their client invest $500,000 in this place. Okay? When their eyes are wide open, that they understand the DNA of tract A and the reason that they have to drive a mile to the west to go a mile to the east with their golf cart every day. This is planned obsolescence of golf carts. If I play golf every day, I'm going to put an extra 300 miles on my golf cart. If I play every day, an extra 300 miles a year, because these 2 aristocrats on each side of tract A think that when they bought that house forever and ever, that sign was going to be there with those rocks forbidding ambulances, fire department rescue vehicles, people with golf carts, and we're going to get rid of that retention basin up there that's a wetland where they're breeding mosquitoes. Okay? I'm willing to let them go. I'm not going to fight them anymore. I want $500, $500,000 cash, firm. This is not negotiable. You come over, we get the listing. Now we put on the listing what's wrong with the thing. Now, because you're a realtor, and down at town hall are all people that are hired by the system. They're all paid with taxpayer money. You're a taxpayer, I'm a taxpayer, okay? You should go in there with this listing and say, you see where he put there cash as is? And he put down that the house is lower than the spec, that it wasn't built right, the permit was illegal, or there's something wrong with the permit. Now you have a right as a realtor to walk into this public official, and you're publicly licensed by the state to do it. You have every right in the world to walk in there and say, we could improve this listing if you give me a letter saying that his house, even though it's 3 inches low and it was permitted to be 3 inches low, is within Buckeye standards. Now, if I get that letter from Scott Zipperich, the head engineer in Buckeye, and I put it in my file, okay, forever and ever, if anybody ever comes back and say you didn't tell us, plus I want that person to come in here eyes wide open. You don't understand how I felt like a gutted fish the day that sign went up. The day that sign went up and those rocks went in forever and ever forbidden golf carts, it was like you just gutted me. You took about $30,000 or $40,000 equity away from my house just so that these two new buyers forever and ever are going to have what they thought that they were going to get. They were going to buy privacy. Like I said in my letter, they were waiting in the wings. As soon as they got the sign up and it was forever and ever never going to be a golf cart, they came in and bought. The day that they were listed, those two buyers bought the house. I didn't even get a chance. I didn't even know they were for sale. If it would have lasted a week and they put a sign out, I could have made an offer on them. Say I wanted to get that house, all right? Well, if I would have made a full price offer, they would have had to pay a commission to me. And they weren't going to let me make an offer on that house. Those houses were sold long before they ever got listed. You know it, I know it. If you don't know it, and I'm sorry I'm going off on you because you are one of the sweetest people. It's just that I'm getting sick and tired of everybody here brushing this under the rug. This is a social justice issue. This is a civil rights issue. Okay? The plat map says there's supposed to be an access easement. The plat map says it's supposed to drain. Every access easement is an emergency for emergency vehicles. The taxpayers here in this parcel are being cheated because they don't have an emergency exit. Other people in other parcels have a golf cart access. I just went through the CC&Rs, the old CC&Rs. I found them in a file, and it says some parcels will have golf cart accesses and some won't. It's all up to the discretion of the HOA, and they're not looking at the plat map. They're taking that plat map and completely discarding it. That plat map is a rough draft, all right? And anything that plat map is intended for, where everybody over there in that parcel has an equal right to use that access easement for ingress, egress, emergency, for drainage, anything, they have a right. And this got skimmed, they got derailed by a bunch of redneck home growers 15 years ago that said, we can do this, nobody's watching us, there's no cops out here. Like on my permit, it says on my permit, it's got the date on it, it's in January. You know what it says on the permit in 3 or 4 places? Look at it, it says not sold. Well, it was sold. It was sold more than a month earlier. It was sold more than a month earlier. I got the contract. I've got the selling agreement that was dated the 7th of December. But when they took that permit into downtown Buckeye to get a permit, they had on it not sold, not sold, not sold. It was sold. It was sold a month earlier. And another one on the master grading map. When you look at the overall map for all of parcel 12, when you get down to the elevation on the map, the true elevation that was supposed to be built at, somebody went along and put as built. So that on the master map it says it was as built per the map. But then we have this permit that you're in possession of now that says it isn't. All right? Now, we put on the listing all this information about the thing and nobody wants to buy it because the sewer pipes, the guy says it's out of problem. Now, you as a professional should be able to go into a public official downtown and say, we got a problem with this listing. Okay? He had nothing to do with this. He had nothing to do with this 18 years ago. He had a contract to buy the house. He gave you $30,000 and a week after he gave you $30,000, you went downtown and lowered his house 3 inches on purpose. And then I'm not going to deal with that anymore. I just list it. Just come over, list it for $500,000 for both houses because I can't live here. I can't live here. I can't stand living here now. I can't stand looking at my neighbors. Every one of my neighbors, it's like being in the twilight zone. They were all living here when that was open for 2 years. Every one of them was living here when that was open to golf carts for 2 years. And when they came in and closed it, nobody said a word. It's like they're all mushrooms. Nobody said a word. I did immediately, and nobody will back me. They're all Midwesterners. They're drinking the Kool-Aid. The Pied Piper over here on the corner told everybody this isn't an easement. We have to go the long way. We always have to go the long way. If I own a cart for 5 years, I'm going to put 1,500 miles extra on my cart if I play golf every day. Because I got to go the long way. Okay? Instead of going the way that I thought I was buying. I've got all the documents. You haven't even seen these videos I sent you. I haven't even scratched the surface. And I hope you don't take this personal. This isn't a personal attack. It's not a personal attack on you. It's a personal attack on the system out here. You guys are... I hope you don't. I think you're the sweetest thing, and the sweetest lady. Now that you're a sweet lady, your husband's very lucky. I hope everything goes. God bless you. But I'm trying to get across here. I'm never going to be able to ever realize the full. That's why I'm going to put this wild figure out there of $500,000 for 2 lots, and hope that somebody with a lot of money, a lot more money with me, and who has 2 or 3 lawyers on his staff, decides to buy it for speculation, or just says, I like the view. Or we're building a new warehouse, or we're building a new company out here in Buckeye, and I want those 2 lots. I want to be able to get up, look at a lake, and I want to be close to I-10. I want I-10 right there. Right? I-10 and Watson is right there. Location, location, location. Plus, when I get home, a half a mile from I-10 and Watson, okay, I've got a lake to look at. I've got my own private little lake. Okay? Somebody that wants that, see, don't let imagination stop you from listing it for my price. You're going with market history.
So if we can list it for 500.
That's all I'm asking.
Did you get a buyer?
That's all I'm asking.
I'm sorry.
That's all I'm asking. List it for 500. See, I'm not in a situation where I'm a slave to comps. Okay? I'm putting a line in the water. I plan on living here for 95, and I'm going to be putting videos on YouTube every day that I'm here. Okay? They're going to get so sick of seeing me on YouTube and the feedback they're getting from people about, well, is that an easement or not? Sooner or later, we're going to get younger and younger people in here. Younger and younger people that are going to question, why am I going the long way? And I'm going to be here to tell them. And I'm going to have all the documents, and I'm going to have all the plans to tell them that, and the permits that were made in error or intentionally put, to tell them. And sooner or later, they're going to have to deal with this. Okay? Now, what I said about balls and strikes. You are practitioners. You're supposed to know things the rest of us don't. That's why I hire you. You're an expert. Now, if I'm going to buy a house from you and I ask you point blank in the eye, am I getting everything I'm supposed to be getting? And you look back at me with the knowledge that you know they tampered with this 18 years ago, and you look back in their eye and you go, you're getting everything you're supposed to get. Now you and Vonda both know right now, you know from the documents you've seen and everything else that that isn't right, but you're willing to sell a house to somebody and let them think that this neighborhood is top notch, okay? You're allowing them to drive a brand new car off the parking lot with something wrong with it. Okay, you know there's something wrong with it, there's something missing, the airbag don't work right, and you're letting them drive off the parking lot thinking that they're getting everything they paid for. It's had the check. That's what I say, when you got the master document for grading and they go to my lot and they check it as built with the original thing, that's saying this was built per this thing, and it wasn't. It wasn't. It was built per the permit, and this permit is a wild card. So that's why they won't talk to me downtown. I don't have a real estate license. I can't force them to talk to me. But if you're a realtor and you go, I want to talk to an engineer, I have these two documents, they're holding up the sale. I have a chance to make buku money on the sale, a $500,000 sale, if we can get rid of this issue of the sewer pipes and the finished floor elevation. All you have to do is write a letter. You have to note the page of the document for the grading mat. Note the permit number of the document. Put it down. These two not agree. All right? It should have never been issued. But since it's been too long, and for the sake of neighborhood continuity and for the sake of allowing you as an investor to sell this house, we didn't think it was a big deal when we signed the permit years ago. All right? This was generated by you years ago. Now I found it. It disagrees with everything. First of all, the permit says it wasn't sold. It was sold a month earlier. And then the real document, where somebody went along and initialed my lot that it was built by the real document elevation. It wasn't. All right? You should be able to go in there as a licensed realtor, right? The state licenses you. You should be able to go into a public office and say, this is holding up a sale. Now, you didn't think it was a big deal 18 years ago when you signed it, and you allowed them to change it. So if you didn't think it was a big deal then, it shouldn't be a big deal now. Give the guy a release. Give him a release that he isn't responsible for telling anybody. He doesn't have to include this. It was permitted by Buckeye. He doesn't have to include it. Okay? I'm not going to let somebody buy that house thinking that their sewer pipes are compliant when they're not. And all this work I'm doing between the house, I've been getting up like 4 mornings in a row. I start at 6 and work for 2 hours, sifting rock out here. Why? Because I got the HOA sending me letters. They want to know why my lot is all messed up. And when I send them videos, they won't watch them. Instead, I get a letter from a lawyer. I'm not paying the lawyer. I don't pay the lawyer dues. I just got done sending him them two dues checks, okay? $285 for each lot. I sent them in about a week ago to the HOA. But when I send the HOA videos or I respond to a question to them, they first of all say we don't have to watch your videos. We're not going to watch your videos. Even though we're in the middle of a coronavirus and people are pinned down and stuff like that, we're not going to take the time to watch your video. Okay? We don't have to.
The work you're doing in the yard is just repairs.
No, it isn't repairs. I have to regrade everything. You don't understand, Lauren, it's geometry. It's geometry. Drainage is driven by geometry. Okay? Your sewer pipes, gravity controls how fast the sewer pipes run to the street. If you take an inch of gravity over 50 feet, it's going to slow the sewer pipe. If you take 2 inches of gravity over 50 feet, it slows it, doubles it. If you take 3 inches over 53, you've slowed it even more. That's exactly what it did. That's why whenever I got a rainstorm, and I've got movies and pictures of it, my house would have a lake around it. Okay? I'm trying to fix it. It's going to take me all summer. There's only me. I'm 71 years old. I haven't got time, and I don't want to hire somebody because they start bulling out here, and the next thing I know, they've gone way ahead of me, and I have to do this at my pace. But what I have to do is I have to sculpt a drain between the house that's deficient and my house. I have to do it all over again. There's a low spot where a lake collects. I've had to take it all up. All the rock that was delivered to me from West Valley Rock had mostly sand in it. That sand is bad for drainage. That's why I'm sifting all this rock. That's why I've got 5, 6 piles of rock in my backyard, all different. One's real rock, one's pebbles, one's sand, one's a mix of pebbles and sand. I have to classify all that with the sifter. I got all summer to go, and to every week, every 2 weeks, get a letter from the HOA. It's like they got their knee on my throat. They're not going to let up. We know what you're trying to do over there. You're trying to change the whole social order. You're trying to change the pecking order of that corner. You're trying to change a plantation system down to a New York system where everybody gets to use the elevator. Okay? These people don't like the noise the elevator has. All right? It's like people living in a high-rise building in New York. If they live next to the elevator, they were told when they bought it, you're living next to the elevator, there's going to be a lot of noise. All right? Those people came in here wide open years ago knowing that. It was on the plat map. But they came in and said, we don't like the noise of the elevator. In other words, we don't like golf carts going by our lot. We don't want golf carts going by our patio every morning. All right? And as long as that's open to golf carts, we'll never have any privacy, like we do on our 100-acre farm back in Nebraska, or Wisconsin, or Colorado, or Minnesota. Okay? These people are not urban people. They don't want to rub elbows with anything. They want to bring their farm here. All right? We're not going to open this up. You're trying to turn this place into New York City. Okay? It ain't going to work. These people are royalty when they come here. Okay? When they come here in the fall, they're royalty. They shouldn't have to put up with golf carts going by their house. And like I said, I made the analogy. You bought a house near the elevator, but when you got in here, you realized you didn't like the noise of the elevator, so you've got the building manager and everybody to shut down the elevator. Now it's quiet. We're not getting woke up in the middle of the night by this elevator noise. Golf carts going by their patio is elevator noise. Okay? They're not sharing with the rest of us. They're not. They're not going to share with the rest of us what we paid. We have a royalty. We have a class system over here. We might as well be in England, okay? Downton Abbey or something like that, where you've got these white supremacists on each side of that thing saying, this is ours. Nobody gets to use it but us. You've heard my spiel. You and Vonda, when you figure out a window where you and Vonda can show up, bring your listing stuff. We're going to list them for $500,000 cash. I don't want to hear nothing about what you think the market is. All right? I told Vonda and you last Tuesday, the reason I'm living on these lots instead of some millionaire Buckeye farmer is because they never thought that these lots were ever going to sell for the price that they had them. Everybody was self-assured they'll never sell one of those lots up there for $25,000 a piece. Well, I don't want to sell to a Midwesterner or any Buckeye person or anybody from Arizona. I'd like to see somebody from Seattle, a real high-powered person from Seattle, like Bill Gates' nephew or something like that, come in here with a lot of lawyer backup, and when I give him all the information, he'll say, thanks for taking care of husbanding these lots. I'll take it from here. We'll fix this. I'm not going to lose the equity you lost. Okay? That's my idea. That's my opinion. When you have a window in the next week or so where you want to come over and start the listing, but that's the way it is. $500,000 cash for the both. I have to get out of here. And don't ask me any questions like, can you be out of here in 3 days? That just threw me off. That's why I say, why don't I ask 600,000? If you ask me a question, can you be out of here in 3 days? Why am I worrying about comps? You're telling me there's a possibility that somebody could come in and want this and you'd be out in 3 days, you'd have to sell it in 3 days. Is the market that hot? Well, if the market's that hot, I want $500,000 for both of them. To one buyer. To one buyer. If you don't want the list, if you...
referring more to investors, and investors in that situation, they're going to buy it for cash, and they're going to be able to, I mean, it's going to be such a quick transaction.
I've already talked to...
There is an interested investor, but that investor is not going to pay $500,000.
Of course, I've already talked to them. Those videos, those first 3 videos, you know what they wanted to give me? Like the first one was like about $60,000. This was about 2 years ago. How about a 60 or 75,000? They started. I hung up on them. Don't call me anymore. Don't bother calling. And that's the trouble. See, that's the trouble. Because of what the town of Buckeye did to the finished floor elevation, which you can solve. Which you can solve on the listing. All you have to do is go into the town of Buckeye and say, listen, this is a problem on our listing. This is a commercial listing. We're trying to sell his house. We represent him. I'm here representing him. What happened here? Why don't you, since you didn't have a problem with lowering it 3 inches for the permit, then don't have a problem writing a letter saying he's absolved of all sin. That he doesn't have to put this, on. Well, that's what's going to make it hard. When you disclose that, it'll never sell. That's why it won't sell for $500,000 when you disclose. Good, beautiful, beautiful, but I'm going to need... Listen, Lauren, God bless you. You got such good intentions. But I've been trying to sell these houses for 4 years. I've interviewed probably 25, 30 people. First, I used to let them go through the house. I'd let them walk through the house. And I just learned not to do that anymore. Because as soon as I bring out the pictures, and you haven't seen them yet, of the house surrounded by water, sitting in the middle of a puddle, and I start explaining the DNA of the house, and that I kicked out of the HOA because I want to disclose this to people, and I don't want to sell it to anybody without disclosing it. The HOA has a problem with this because you're a dissident. You're a revolutionary over there. You're a carpetbagger. You want to turn over, you want all that continuity that existed for years over in that corner, you want to destroy. You want to take these people and open that up so that they got to deal with golf carts. And they bought with the idea that they were going to be golf cart free forever and ever. Well, you did that little deal at the expense of the rest of us. You did it at the expense of everybody else that lives here. Okay? I'm not going to be, that's why I'm going to tell anybody. That's why I can't just sell one. I have to sell them too. But I'm going to need 2 months. I'm going to need at least a month or two. If you come up, like we list it, and the next day that you come up and say he wants you out by the end of the month, absolutely not. He can have them, and he can have them, and he can have.
If you mentioned an investor had offered you like 60 or 70 grand, which is an absolutely absurd number. If you have an investor that's even within the ballpark of the 500 that you're asking,
No, it's no. I'm getting the price I would get if that tract A is open. And if anybody says, how dare you ask this much, I'll say, my lot drains. I spent $6,000 in legal fees when I got thrown in jail for missing a court date that I never got served on because I was doing civil disobedience. I was walking more or less with a picket sign, and I got arrested for walking with a picket sign down tract A. Okay? They arrested me. They found a reason to arrest me. Okay? Now, I'm not going to let this go. I'm not going to let this go. Okay? You come out, you list them for $500,000 if they sell tomorrow, but they won't sell because an investor isn't going to spend that much money. They're not going to do it. They're looking to turn them quick. They want to flip them. They want to come in, do cosmetic, flip them, and be out of here. And to buy low, sell high. They're not, like I said, I don't have to sell these. I'm not desperate. It isn't like the wolf is at the door. I own them both now. I have the deed to both of them now. Both of them. I own them both. I'm not in a hurry. So go find me somebody that can buy them for cash, who loves the lot, somebody that understands how crooked Buckeye is, and that to buy in the Buckeye, you're going to have to be shackled with bad sewer pipes and bad lot drainage, and having to drive your golf cart a mile extra every day, every time you want to play golf. If you don't mind putting those shackles on you while you live here, by all means, you can have it for $500,000. Okay? That's my logic. I'm not going to preach anymore. $500,000, that's it. They sign a document that they know that the thing was built wrong. I've got other documents to send you. I haven't even scratched the surface on information I want you to have and I want the new buyer to have. Of what they've done. All the letters, the HOA just, they teed off on me. They teed off on me. They go, this wise-ass New Yorker, this guy from the East Coast, I might as well be Chuck Schumer at an Alabama Klan meeting. I'm telling you. I'm a liberal, East Coast, progressive urbanite. Okay? I'm used to having easements. People in urban areas, because they're in urban areas clogged up, they take easements serious. If there's a walkway to get to a park, which our golf course is our little central park, these guys come in and put up fences and say you can't, even though you pay dues, and even though it's on the plat map, and even though it was on the original plans of highest and best use. You ever heard that term? Highest and best use? They trampled, mutilated the highest and best use. This was a Buckeye butcher shop. A bunch of redneck civil engineers, knuckle-dragging apes. They took an emergency in and out, emergency ingress for rescue and fire away from this parcel, and everybody looked the other way, and they're still looking the other way. They don't want to disturb the 15-year continuity of these white supremacists. That sign right there, to me, is the Lost Cause movement. We had it open for 2 years, but when they got Jackie Meck elected, they had a Lost Cause movement. They convinced Jackie Meck that it should be closed again. So they put a sign up and closed it. Even though we lost it for 2 years, since we got our mayor back in, we're going to take it back. We've got our privacy again. And then what do? About a month later, they put it on the market, and these buyers that are waiting to buy it with the signs up bought it the day it was listed. Pull up lot 317, pull up lot 318, look at the listing. Put their addresses in, look at the listing. They were sold the day they were listed. Okay? I want to do the same thing with these lots. I want out of here. And the story I'm going to tell about Buckeye, I can't wait. I'm going to write a book about Buckeye. You see right now, this country is boiling over because of injustice and white supremacy. Well, I've got my own white privilege story to tell about Buckeye, how they threw me in jail because they didn't want me walking on their easement. How they stole the easement 15 years ago when nobody was looking. All right? And when the engineer wrote it, that should have stopped it right there. When the engineer wrote the letter and said, this is out of compliance, fix it, that should have been the end of the story. But Buckeye is so friggin' crooked, they were able to get around that. They were able to circumvent the head engineer's letter ordering them to dig it out. It wasn't until I got arrested that they finally decided to dig it out. All right? It was a pretty public event. Everybody in my parcel, they called up everybody. They left me in a car for 45 minutes, handcuffed, and they called everybody in the parcel and had them down on the corner when they finally took me out like a monkey in a cage. They called up the Vetskirnas and the Lofdals and the Marinos, called up everybody they knew and said, we got him. He's held, we got the monkey, he's in a cage. And they had an audience. When the police finally took me out after 45 minutes, sitting alone in a cop car at 64 years old, I could have had a heart attack. All the cops left me. Every cop left me. The cops that put me in the car went up and were taking statements. The other cop went back to his car and was writing statements. If I would have had a heart issue at 64 years old, they had no knowledge of it. They could have thrown me in that car, and then when they opened the door again 10 minutes later, I would have been flopping like a hatter. All right? Same deal as when they tackled it. Well, I'm telling you, you want to make it up to me? Go down and hold up a mirror to these idiots down there. They got the same idiots in civil engineering on the second floor that they had 18 years ago. This is nepotism. All right? It's all white supremacy. You're an outsider. You're from the Bay Area. We don't like you. You don't like Trump. Okay? I don't. I can't stand him. I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps during Vietnam. I got drafted. All right? We had 2 Trumps on my bus, just like him. Same thing. And when I got out of the service, they had families started. They had good jobs with the state. They were all set up. I got out of the service with nothing. Okay? So, I can't stand the guy. Makes me sick to see him walking off of a Marine helicopter and Marines are saluting him. But get Vonda and you together, come up with a time window, come over, like I said, $500,000 for the both of them, and I don't want to hear nothing about comps or what you think the market will bear or anything like that. There's a tidal wave right now of pent-up anxiety of people wanting to get out and buy. Okay? I have for the next 5 years to sell these at $500,000. But in 6 months it's going to go to $550,000. So if you want the listing now for $5, you can have it. In 6 months it's going to $550,000. I'm putting a line in the water. They caught a big fish with me. They caught a real big fish with me. They hooked a whopper. They got a cash buyer that they could screw over. Plus I bought the next 2 lots next to it, to the first one. All right? They never saw me coming. I'm expecting somebody like me to show up. Okay? I'm not stupid. You go do whatever you want. If you don't want to deal with it anymore, that's fine. Oh, I'm ready. That's it. Well,
what saddens me even further is that at the end of the day, is this the hill that you're willing to die on, basically? You know, is this what you
yeah, I am.
want to do?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. Okay? I am. I got drafted in the Marine Corps. It was the loneliest 4 years of my life. Okay? I had to show up at places with just me and a sea bag. Show up at a brand new and deal with all strangers. And the thing of it is, I have very strong memories of some of the people I had to deal with. And some of the people from down south were the greatest people I have ever met in my life, but some had a resentment. Let's face it, I'm 5th Avenue. When I walk in with confidence. I'm a New Yorker. I've been on the street since I was 4 years old. I got beat up the first day of school. All right? The first day of school, I got beat up by 3 thugs. So, as far as warm and fuzzy Seward, I'm not going to be warm and fuzzy, but I've landed on this twilight zone planet called Buckeye, where if you're not warm and fuzzy and conciliatory all the time to whatever stupid argument they have for you. Now, I'm kicked out of the HOA because I have all this knowledge about track day and the DNA in my house. They can't allow me to talk in public in any forum inside of the HOA. And I don't talk to my neighbor. I don't talk to my neighbors. I'm living in a neighborhood where I refuse to talk to my neighbors. When that sign went up and I went to every one of my neighbors and said, aren't you going to say something about that? And it was just like they were afraid. They were afraid. Either that or they were in on it from the same time. Either that or their church, where they went to church, they all got together and prayed and said, we have to, even though we did this, the Lord will forgive us. This is a white lie over there. Okay? I grew up Protestant, Presbyterian. I know where all these people are coming from. I grew up to be afraid of black people. Okay? We only had 1 or 2 families in the whole town, and they didn't dare say boo to anybody. They were one family in a sea of white. All right, so I know where the people are coming from. Thank God I got drafted and started moving around and lived in places like San Francisco and Boston and Seattle, where people are adult and have gray matter between their ears instead of greed, that they know that they're supposed to share. Part of being a citizen in this country and being a citizen in this community is sharing what everybody has a right to use. And we have people here that don't believe in that. They're citizens from the Midwest that left their farm, like I said. They're not used to seeing golf carts go by their patio. They bought in Brooklyn. They bought a house in Brooklyn, but they're going to bring their 40-acre or 50-acre farm with them here. And the hell with all the people that are paying dues up there. I've paid this HOA over $40,000 in dues on 3 lots. $40,000. I've never been to one of their parties, one of their dances. When the pictures come out on the HOA website of all these people partying, like you got the head guy dressed up in a pink ballerina outfit for a costume party. I don't participate in that. I never have. I don't have time to go to dances. And the only thing I ever went to was meetings. And every time I stood up in a meeting, or if they knew I was in a meeting, they assigned I went to one meeting, when they saw I was there, they went out and got this goon and they put him right next to me. And when I started talking, the first thing he did was tell me to sit down and shut up. It was like one of their goons. They surveyed a crowd. They profiled the crowd a half an hour before every meeting. Anybody that they're having a trouble with, they go and get goons to sit by him or around him, behind him. Either to be false witness against him, or to sit down and tell him to shut up. Been there, done that. Okay? The only reason I ever went there was to the meetings, and when I got up and started talking, I'm bulldozed. I'm bulldozed by a whole bunch of people that were in on this and don't want to let me talk. Okay? So I got no mercy, I got no feeling, I got nothing but sympathy for the people who live in Buckeye. I really do. This is the whitest, most Christian place on the earth, and it's the most dishonest. Nobody is going to step up and call a ball and a strike a strike. I'm a visiting team from outside, and the people that are running the game out here, the umpires, those people down in civil engineering are umpires. They're running the game. They're referees. You're an umpire. You're an expert. You're a referee. You're supposed to be marshaling the game out here of real estate. And you're all turning the other cheek. I keep throwing strikes, 90-mile-an-hour strikes right down the middle, and you keep calling them balls. And whenever your pitcher throws a high and outside, it's called a strike. That's what you're doing. I figured out what happened over here. None of you will step up and have the courage to step up and say, the field isn't level over there. Okay? We have a pecking order. We have a pyramid. There aren't supposed to be any pyramids. These are common areas. But every time I start talking about common areas, you label me as a pinko commie from New York. A left-wing liberal that believes we're all supposed to share. You don't believe in the grand old party and white intellectual superior white supremacists that live on each side of Tract A. Okay? When you and Vonda come to your senses and you want to list this house for $500,000, you come and do it. Just call me up and say, we're going to be there on this date. You bring over the listing, we'll list it for $500,000. Okay? And if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it will get a lot of press and advertising. And That'll be another selling point when you go to talk to the civil engineers. You can say, we have to put on the listing that's being broadcast everywhere that the house is out of compliance. Do you want that on a Buckeye listing? How about giving the guy what he wants? How about giving him a forgiveness letter for his sewer pipes that he doesn't have to disclose it? Once he gets this letter, we'll quit. We'll take that off the ad. Once you bless his house, give him a letter of blessing that he doesn't have to disclose the sewer pipes are out of compliance, then he'll quit. We'll take it off the listing, and it won't be advertised that Buckeye permitted something out of compliance. Maybe look at it that way. But anyway, thank you for the conversation. I'm really tired. I've gone through this so many times, 1,000 times, with Gene, my friends, the neighbors. I'm completely, totally sick and tired of talking about the discrepancies of the law. I've had so much false witness come at me from the police, from the HOA, from members of the HOA, from my neighbors. They want me out of here. I'm not a fit. You're a New Yorker. We don't want New Yorker and carpetbagger New Yorkers up here holding mirrors up to how crooked we are and how much of a hypocrite we are. So, and I'm not really big on the Lord. If you want to start the Lord, I got my own religion, and it has to do with what goes around comes around. All right, karma. That's my religion. I try to live each day trying to treat everybody as honestly and fairly as I can. Must be somewhere in my past I must have done something wrong because they really got me. I paid the price here. It's been 15 years now that I've been paying dues for something I didn't get. And I've been trying to, one of the biggest things in golf, one of the most sacred philosophies in golf professionals, when you sign up to be a golf professional and you're going to join the tour, they make it mandatory that you understand this one rule. You protect the field. If you ever see another golfer do something that it's illegal, that's against the rules, it's your obligation to immediately notify the field. And that's what I'm doing. This isn't right over here. I'm protecting the field. Maybe if they ever do correct it and I get out of here and I write a book about this and I start putting YouTube videos, right now I've got about over 100 YouTube videos on the subject. I don't dare publish them because I'll be in jail next week if I do. All right? I don't dare, but once I sell these houses and get out of here, the expletives will fly. All right? Buckeye, I'm going to put Buckeye on the map. Anybody wants to have an HOA story about Buckeye, or HOA story, or a story about Buckeye? Buckeye has rode hard over so many people over the years. When they didn't have an interstate out here and you had to go through Buckeye to get to California, they had speed traps. If you broke down, you got raped by the local businessmen. Buckeye's got the worst reputation in the state. All right, it's the hole-in-the-wall game. I didn't know that. If I would have known that, I would have stayed away from here. I would have never bought in here. But like I said, you guys come up with. A retainer? What are you talking about, a retainer?
Included in disclosure.
What do you mean, a retainer?
Ask that again at your phone cut out.
What are you talking about, a retainer? You mean it's going to cost me money to list them?
That's right. It will cost you to list them, and then that will be taken out of the commission at the end. If it sells.
Why would I want to do that? I don't want to do that. Okay, all right, it's non-negotiable. What's it going to cost you to list? It ain't going to cost you a thing. to list it.
Well,
No, it's not going to cost you anything. You put it in the multiple, that's it.
we've got to do
No, no, no. When it sells, you get paid. I'm not paying up front. We're done talking. The whole game has changed. The whole game has changed. The other house I sold through Lynn Ashton, I didn't have to pay a retainer to list it, and it sold in less than a week. In fact, it sold 2 days later. It sold 2 days later. That's how hot these properties are. So don't give me any of this rhetoric where you're going to charge me up front. You list them, you put it in the multiple. When they sell, you get your commission. End of story. Non-negotiable. If you want to hold to that, don't bother coming over. Like I said, I'm pretty fed up right now. I got to go over and try to have dinner with Gene after talking to you about his, and I haven't gotten anywhere with you. I haven't gotten anywhere with you and Vonda yet on the social implication of what happened over here. The social justice and everything over in this corner. You don't get it. You don't get it. Obviously, you don't get it, and you don't get me, and you don't understand me. I don't have to sell these. If somebody wants these, maybe somebody's out there looking to would spend $600,000 for them. I'm going to do them a favor and list them at 5. The other one sold in 2 days. I cut the price $10,000. I wanted $10,000 more than what they paid for it when I first talked to Lynn, but because I had been thrown in jail and I had a lot of expenses, lawyer fees and everything else, I had to come up with money. So I went into Lynn, the day that we listed it, I dropped it another $10,000. It sold in 2 days, okay? And I kind of was in a hurry. I was under duress to sell them because my bank account was a little low after paying lawyers that I shouldn't have had to pay. Lawyers that played dead, that rolled over and played dead when I told them that I got arrested without being served, and they said, we're not going there. We're not going there. We're not even going to talk about due process. Buckeye gets a free pass on this one. The Buckeye Police Department and the judicial system in Buckeye gets a free pass on this one. Even though you spent 4 years in the Marine Corps, you got out with an honorable discharge and everything else like that, Buckeye got away with throwing you in jail for missing a court date that you never got served on. Now, until that, well, see, you're never going to understand. You're not going to get it. Well, you're not going to get it. I'm upset. Like I said, if you want to charge me a commission up front, it ain't going to work. You sit down, have a powwow with her. You figure out you're going to come and list it for $500,000. It could sell in 2 days for that price, and you're gonna hold up a sale because what are you going to lose by listing it? What are you going to lose by listing it? How's it going to cost you any money to list it? Well, yeah, and you get paid at the end, like I did when I was selling real estate. No.
That's why it's a retainer. It's a portion of the commission.
Well, I don't do retainers. I'm not going to do retainers. Let me get this perfectly clear to you. I'm not going to do a retainer. Okay? If that's part of the deal, we're done talking. Okay? Please don't take this personal. I feel it's coming from Vonda more than it's coming from you. Okay? You're just caught in the middle of this. You don't have a lot of experience. I'm not criticizing you for that. You're starting out. But let me promise you one thing. If you're not honest and upfront with everybody, completely and totally honest, and you hold back anything, that's dishonest. You're being paid. Now, Vonda is willing to do that, and she's sort of getting you to be willing to do that. All right? Well, that's the honesty is track days out of compliance. That's why I can't get top dollar for this house. The honesty is.
That's not why you won't get top. $500,000 is not supported by the market. Even if everything was as you wish that it were, you still wouldn't get 250 for each of those properties. You wouldn't, based on the market.
Really, I have more experience than you do. Don't tell me. All right? You've never been in the Bay Area. You've never been in the Bay Area. I came from the Bay Area. It's a whole different market. As soon as a guy gets ordered from the Bay Area, he's in San Jose, and they said, go down and open up Buckeye, the guy's going to come down here with all kinds of buku equity. He isn't even going to think. He's going to walk onto this back patio and see that lake and see that he's a half a mile from I-10 and Watson, and he's going to say, how much do you want? All right? And then it'll be his problem. It'll be his problem dealing. Well, you go ahead. Well, for you to do that, I really don't want. I don't want to hire you then. If you're going to tell people it's way out of market, why would I hire you? Well, that's self-defeating. No, you tell them, make an offer. What you tell them is you make an offer. I don't want somebody that's going to downplay what I want for my house. I know what this house is worth. I've lived here for 15 years and I know what I got into it. What they're paying for is all my labor. You got to understand, all this labor that I put into reconditioning the lots, resurfacing the lots, regrading the lots, going to jail, putting in the mini splits, putting the solar. This was all stuff, equity that I put into the house. So there isn't a comp to compare to this house. You're never going to find a comp that compares to either one of these houses here. So don't tell me what comps are. All right? You've never been to San Francisco. You've never been in that California lifestyle. These people, money is no option. Once they decide to buy, just like me. The first day I got here, I tried to tie up 10 lots. 10 lots on this lake. I tried to get the guy to give me an exclusive because I knew I was going to go back to the hangar at United and have them sold in a week. All right? I had people making buku bucks back there. You guys can't see the forest for the trees out here. That's why I'm living here, because everybody thought they were told. They told all the realtors, told them when they listed this lot for $25,000, they told everybody that's over market. It's not worth $25,000. It's not worth $25,000. I'll tell you right now. So nobody bought them, and that left the door wide open for me to come in and steal them. If the realtors would have told them, if the realtor would have been told them, you better buy them at 25 because they're going to go fast. There's a tidal wave of money coming this way from California. You better get them now at 25. They didn't. They said, wait, they're not. They're priced too high. They'll never sell at that price. That's what I'm dealing with you. Don't be so short-sighted. Don't let your imagination or lack of imagination tell me or try to charge me money up front because you think I'm listing them too high. They either list at that price or they don't get listed. I'm about ready to put on I'm going to go to Craigslist, and I'm going to put on Craigslist everything about the house, and there's going to be about 50 links that I'm going to say cut and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. So everybody will know from all my YouTube videos what's wrong with this house and what I've done to this house and all the sweat equity I've got in this house and all the years of shoveling dirt out there with a wheelbarrow. Ask any golfer, ask my neighbors. Ask the golfers who've been playing here for like the last 5 or 6 years how much time I got out in the backyard separating, grading, the money and the expense. That's why you're paying $500,000. So for you to comp my house, you haven't got a clue. Okay? I'm sorry I'm going off like this. Your husband was here, he'd probably punch me in the face. I don't mean to do that. I'm talking to your collective group. I'm talking to your collective group. I'm talking to your collective group, what you represent here in Buckeye. What you represent here in Buckeye is this place is filthy with this group that are going to brush this under the table. We're not going to confront this. You're a bad seed. You're a bad apple in a barrel. You're a mismatch for that neighborhood. Over in that neighborhood, nobody has a problem with this but you. So we've got to get rid of you. We've tried kicking you out of the HOA, but you keep sending us dues money. And then when you send us, you want explanation, and I send them a video for an explanation, They send me a lawyer letter accusing me of being combative again. What I am is intelligent enough to know that I got screwed. If I pick up a carton of eggs and I bring it home, there's not a dozen in them, there's only 10 eggs instead of a dozen, and I got screwed out of 2. That's exactly what happened here. Now, in my listing, I want to let the new buyer know that. If you've got a problem with that, then I don't want you in the listing. And if you got a problem with my price and you're going to tell buyers it's not worth that price, you're doing them a disservice. You're doing a buyer a disservice by telling them that it's not worth what I want for it. Because that's the same disservice to...
And let me clarify what I said, and I'm not just talking about your property. Me as a buyer's agent, if there is a piece of property and I am helping them find their dream home, and they are looking within a certain price range, and they come across this house, I'm going to say that that doesn't go with the market, because just around the corner they can get a bigger house for the same price that's likely even more updated.
Good.
So that's what I'm saying.
Good.
Is that
I'm like...
specifically your property, but whoever the buyer's agent is, they are going to look at those numbers. It's not us. We'll put it for whatever you want. But what I'm saying is, whoever buys it, their agent is going to look at those numbers and say this is too much. And then they're gonna lowball you.
Good. I don't want them. I don't want those kind of people. All right. I'm looking for a niche buyer who's got as much money and more than me, who's got brains than me, who's got more passion. It's got as much passion as me and a lot more money. And it's got 4 or 5 lawyers on his payroll. Go find me that buyer. All right. If you find me that buyer, he'll be glad to pay $600,000 for these 2 lots. All right. End of story. I'm really tired. Jean tried to call me about a half an hour ago. I blew her off because I've been engaged, and we've basically, well, like I'm not talking to you directly. I'm talking to the collective. I'm talking to the collective of white trash. I'm talking to the collective of white trash that occupies Buckeye. That sign at the end of the thing might as well have a Confederate flag on it. It might as well have a Confederate flag on it and a KKK sign and a Nazi emblem. It's a class. It identifies class. We're more important than you are. You're going to be subjugated to us. You're always going to go the long way to the clubhouse, out to the Sundance Parkway, to the 7th tee, because we want this all to ourselves. We bought it that way 17 years ago when these crooks stole it and gave it to us, and we're going to keep it that way. Now, we're done talking. I've gone over and over and over. I don't know if you've ever heard what programmed instruction is, but I did a correspondence course in electronics. Programmed instruction is they give you the same question over and over and over again. You do the problem over and over and over again. And that's why I keep going in these cycles of telling you over and over and over again the social injustice that's going on over here and the hypocrisy that lives here. Okay? I'm going to bust it up. If it takes me 20 years to do it, I don't have to sell. You have an opportunity right now to sell to this lot. There's a buyer out there that will pay $600,000 for these lots, and I know it. You have an opportunity to give that buyer an opportunity to buy them for $500,000. All you got to do is list them and have a little faith. If you ever saw Kelly's Heroes, I'm dealing with realtors here in Buckeye that are dealing with negative waves. We're negative waves. You want to catch a big fish like you got. Well, I don't see why I shouldn't have an opportunity to catch a big fish too. Now, you're either going to give me that opportunity by taking the listing and posting it on the multiple for free and take your chances like me, or you're not. Okay? And all these conversations and all these emails have been for naught. It's been moot. Now, I'm going to say goodbye. because Jean's been waiting for me to call her now for about 40 minutes.
Don't make her wait anymore.
Well, I'm not in a very good mood because you and I have gotten absolutely nowhere. Okay? We're right where we started. The only thing is, you know me a little better that I'm not going to go away. And you let the NHOA know that I'm not going to go away. Now, I don't know if you know this Caroline Clinton, the HOA manager, if you've ever had any dealings with her. Why don't you go in and try to talk to her one time about this and see how quickly she dismisses you with her English. She'll look down her nose at you and she'll talk to you like you're a heathen off a reservation. That's basically what I am. I'm an Indian that's been put on the reservation. When they canceled my key card, even though I paid 2 dues for 2 houses, I can't get in to the adult center. I can't go to any meetings. I'm on the reservation. I'm on the reservation, and I still have to pay dues. You understand that? Now, can I say goodbye? Say hi to your husband. Don't take this personal. Please, please don't take this personal. Like I said, this is meant for the whole community here in Buckeye, the whole real estate community. That everybody that sells real estate here, and I've gone down, I've seen people have open house, and I go to the lady that's holding the open house, and I go, you see that parcel? You see that easement down there with the trees and everything? We're supposed to be able to drive golf carts on it. On the plat map, that's an easement. On the original plans, it was an easement. They butchered it for their own greed, all right, years ago, because nobody was looking. And no realtor even wants to hear it. No realtor even wants to hear it because we're all part of this white supremacist Buckeye club, and that's a white lie. We see that as a harmless white lie. No, we're white privilege. The white privilege that did this in the first place 17 years ago now is interpreting it as a simple white lie that everybody living here has to go the long way to the clubhouse forever and ever. But thank you for calling. I'll talk to you anytime. Thank you for listening. Don't hold a grudge against me. I'm not against you. If you come to the door tomorrow, if you come up to my door tomorrow, I'll be glad to see you. But
Well, I'm happy to hear that.
the music isn't going to change. Okay?
Understand.
All right. Thank you for calling,
Okay.
Lauren. Have a
Thanks
great.
for telling Tina I said hello.
Thank you. I will. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir.